Both of us should just click ourselves in.
That sounds good. The fiction of poverty versus the reality of poverty. How Americans think poverty is compared to who is really affected by poverty.
When you hear the word poverty, this is the type of image that comes to mind. Malnourished and poor children, but rarely do we think of it as happening in our own country.
In reality, these are the people who struggle with poverty. Throughout the United States, everyday people like you and me are stricken with poverty.
Before we go any further, it's important to understand what exactly is this animal called poverty.
Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines poverty as a state of one who lacks a usual or socially acceptable amount of money or material possessions. The questions arise then, what is socially acceptable and or usual? The United States Census Bureau does attempt to answer these questions and measure poverty in its official poverty measure, also known as the OPM. The OPM computes poverty status using income such as earnings or other compensations before taxes. Additionally, the OPM factors in poverty thresholds that are differentiated by farm or non-farm status, number of children, gender of the family head, and the ages of the persons in the family unit. Off of these measurements, the Census Bureau creates a threshold to determine.
Originally, the OPM was derived from U.S. Department of Agriculture food budgets designed for families under economic stress and data about what portion of their income families spent on food. So, the threshold for income is the cost of food multiplied by 3 at the prices that food cost in 1963. Essentially, the Census Bureau defines poverty. We, however, define poverty as the state of possessing insufficient resources to achieve a dignified life arising from various factors. As a result, the capabilities a person is afforded is directly related. Yeah, will we need this?
I feel like it's
Okay.
leave it in for now. I don't unless you have a problem with it.
No, I mean.
I think it's just interesting to.
Oh, you know what? It might be good. Pause halfway.
They're not families.
I'm just gonna take that out entirely.
The non-family.
2 minutes, not bad. According to Meyer and Wallace, women are at an increased risk of poverty. 41% of the poor are a part of female-headed families. This fact can be due to differing medical costs, opportunities. More accurately account for poverty.
The supplemental poverty measures threshold more accurately account.
Counts.
Yeah, you're right. While the OPM has remained relatively unchanged since the 1960s, the supplemental poverty measures threshold more accurately accounts for poverty. The supplemental poverty measures threshold is at the 33rd percentile of all food, clothing, shelter, and utility needs. Additionally, it factors in the cost of having 2 kids and the costs associated. Altogether, this amount is multiplied by 1.2.
So, which method should we be measuring poverty with?
While the United States government uses the official poverty measure, what we think we should use is the supplemental poverty measure. So, we have 2 methods of measuring poverty, the OPM and SPM. Overall, the SPM is much better measuring poverty for many reasons. It takes into account much more than just income by including things like geographic location, childcare costs, or transportation costs. As Nussbaum said, just talk slow.
One way many authors attempted to find it
Skins are off to a good start.
by
What is it?
using the concept. While measuring poverty is certainly important, it is equally as important to define it. One way many authors attempt to define poverty is by using the concepts of functionings and capabilities. According
Meanwhile, Sen defines the capability of a person as that which reflects the alternative combinations of functions a person can achieve, and from which he or she can choose one collection. There are different types of capabilities, however. There is the combined capabilities, which is the economic, political, and social abilities or limitations. Do you want to? So then this is where we go to the example.
I'm gonna try to edit.
That's something we can spend a lot of time on,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I didn't spend a lot of time there. Okay, let me.
Wait, why are you deleting that?
That's actually fine. This is a common
Dilemma.
dilemma.
I think what you want to almost keep all this, but you might want to add.
Okay.
Here's an example of why capability is better than functions.
Poverty. Take a single parent who
There remains a question of who are the people that can be defined as in poverty. It should be considered as the people who struggle with the low income but adequate capabilities, the people who have inadequate capabilities but not a low income, along with those. Sweet.
Easily.
Alright, you just hit play whenever you're ready.
Overall, a group that is in poverty can be inhibited in many ways that are out of their control. Whether it's inadequate income or capabilities, either one can drive a person into poverty. Furthermore, both can be actors in any given situation and drive someone even deeper into poverty. Because poverty is so much more than just measuring income, the supplemental poverty measure creates a better poverty threshold because it includes healthcare costs, rising levels of living, policies that reflect key government benefits, transportation or other costs of getting a job that the official poverty measure does not.
We therefore conclude that poverty is the state of possessing insufficient resources to achieve a dignified life